Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl Angie Stone, and I am back to the basics. I am here back at my original setup, doing the darn thing once again. So, I told you guys that I wanted to explain to you guys why I've been MIA for the past week or so. And I think it's only fair that you know my truth simply because you have dedicated your time to rocking with me. So, with that being said, I would like to let you know first and foremost that I apologize for that empty, voided space that we had to endure. It was not my intention, not what I wanted to do, not what I thought about doing, nothing I was, oh God, how am I do this? I was actually kind of pushed back to a space where I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do this anymore. Well, let's just get to it. We have enough people in the room. Do we have enough people in the room? I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get in because I really want for you to understand how important it is that you know that, I'm a very, very, very sensitive person. And depending on how I'm handled, dictates how I move. Anyway, I, you know, wanted to get two camera people, somebody that could actually take me live, which was when I went live. My first time doing it was I went live with Nikki Gilbert from Brownstone and from R&B Divas. We were super excited. It took us nearly 30 minutes or so to kind of get her on the line, get it lined up, because, the crew that I had hired were not as experienced as I've known them to be when it came to my live. The lighting was all wrong. The mics were all wrong. The setup was just unorganized. I was getting feedback on my live that it was grainy. People couldn't hear me. Whoever did this lighting is not good. And so you don't want your live where you're featuring another artist to be plagued with those kind of comments. And so with that being said, I was very, very broken and disheartened. It was the worst live that I had done thus far. And because of that, I wanted to pull back, regroup, and get back to the basics. So what I did was I had to move everything back up here in the space that I originally started in, just so that I could at least give you what we were used to getting. And so that's what we did. I am back on the mend, and I will be here until I can get the proper team to come in and film me. I've spoken to, shout out to my girl Tanya, who is versed in film and television. She called me and said, let me get on the horn and find you somebody that can do this. So hopefully in the next week or so, we will have what we need with cameras held in hand, proper mics, lighting, and we can get on to the business at hand with secrets revealed. Now, I really wanted to do back the basics to give you guys in-depth uh, view of just what happened so that you wouldn't think that, okay, she just dropped the ball. I did not just drop the ball, but I'm a perfectionist. And what I'd like things to flow in the way that they should go. And when they don't, I don't like all these cleanups afterwards. So I decided to refrain from doing any shows until I could at least get us back to this point. And then we can start our show again. Shout out to Van Silk, wherever he is. He was on point. Shayna from Sacred Sound, thank you for everything that you've been doing to keep the car on the road. Okay, it's been real. I've enjoyed this so much interacting with my fans. Earlier, I did in-depth or impromptu performance. I allowed 3 people to come on and perform on my Instagram live just to get a taste of what that's going to look like. I also have some footage where I originally cut the sizzle reel to the show that I'm creating along with Music Soul Child. I do have enough footage that I think throughout down the line I can actually start to show you some of that footage and get your opinions on it. There are quite a few talented people on that reel. So my son and I agreed that it might be a good thing to just show you just a snippet of what we're building. I'm super, super excited about it. But I mainly just wanted to give you a heads up as to what happened. Now, the one thing I will do, I will talk about one secret. I said that I was going to wait for more people to get in the room. There is one like, uh, I hate to even talk about it because in my thumbnail it says, Angie Stone reveals a secret that almost led to a beatdown. I think it's important that you know back in the day, in my middle school years, they used to call me Tiger Brown. I know it's a little corny, but Tiger Brown because I was an only child and I wasn't afraid to fight anybody that gave me a lot of trouble. It was like, look, bring it on because I'm not scared of you. And so that went with me throughout. And so whenever I got in a situation where I felt pushed or toyed with, I'm like, please don't make me go back to Tiger Brown because I have worked so hard to get here. I have worked so hard to walk in his way and not my way. So I had to ditch a lot of my own ways just to keep it sexy, just to keep it real. And if I was going to be in a position where I had young people looking up to me, following my lead, I had to be careful how I led the people. So I didn't want to do anything derogatory that would cause them to be misled. Does that make sense to you all? Right. Just as I thought. So that's why, I've already lost a couple of friends. Well, I won't say a couple, one friend because of a question that was asked of me on my live. And that was, I think it was someone, did you sleep with Eric Badu? And I answered the question as best as I could, like, why would I? I'm sorry. No, that's not the way that I go. And I was as direct as I could possibly be, and it offended one of what I thought was one of my very, very good friends. But I feel like with friends like that, who needs enemies? Because first of all, I was answering in my truth, and that is still my truth. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it to you all right now, that people have to accept people for who they are, no matter what they choose and how they choose to live. You are not in a position to judge anybody. God is the judge of all. So who am I to judge anybody? But I do have my preference of what I like to do, and I don't feel ashamed about that. It is who I am. The fabric of what I'm made of is just what I'm made of. And if you don't like it, you kick rocks. It's good for me. And kick rocks because I don't want to make anybody live outside of who they choose to be to accommodate what I want them to be. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, the other thing is it is time for me to reveal. Quiet, quiet. It's time for you to reveal, for me to reveal my secret for the day. I had to tell my household to chill for a minute. I'm sorry about that. Um, just because quite a few things that have happened in the industry over the years that I've had to deal with, and some you would never even entertain in the least bit. You wouldn't put yourself in this position. But I'm going to give you guys a little piece of what that was for me. When I was in a very, very high profile relationship, and I'm not going to call any names because there's only been one high profile, I had to avoid other high profile relationships because they would just be too messy. Everybody want to know who doing what with who, why, how long it's been going on, and what is it. Well, whew, lo and behold, there was a time when the one thing was for an artist was to get into Vibe magazine, XXL. I had already been in Right On magazine so many times, and the Hair magazine, and Sister to Sister, and so on and so on. I had been on the covers of some of the magazines, but this was probably one of the biggest hip hop magazines that was out to date. It was either XXL or Vibe. I'm sitting there and I'm being interviewed by a young lady who, I'm 5'3", so she had to be about 5'10", and my mom was 5'11", so you can imagine how tall 5'10" was. A big old girl, I mean, big everything. So she was standing like way up over me, and at the time, the relationship that I was in, my guy wasn't that much taller than me, maybe an inch or two taller than me, but it was a perfect fit. And while I'm sitting there, cameras, lights, camera, action, it's on. This interviewer is staring me down. She started asking me certain questions, like, "Well, how does it feel for you to be, older?" And I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like much of anything because, you know, like Aaliyah said, age ain't nothing but a number. We ain't tripping over that because I looked very much like a little girl because I've always aged very gracefully. So we weren't caught up with that because whereas I felt and was just turning 30, I was still very young. That's a young, tender age. You're just getting off of being 29. And that person was just turning 20. So, you figure, and they was an old soul. They was an old soul. And at the end of the day, they all met my new, and it was just a perfect combination. However, the interviewer was asking a whole bunch of questions that were set out to really humiliate me. And I'm like, well, where is this going? Because I was trying to figure out, like, okay, you pretty much know the answers to these, and we told you that going into these, we don't want to answer all these kind of questions. We want to avoid those kind of questions. But lo and behold, the elephant in the room was she looked me in my face with the camera and everything going and said, well, he and I are very close. As a matter of fact, he and I have been, involved. Uh, and I'm like, wait, is she serious? She's joking, right? Like, we are not doing this interview, and you're not sitting here telling me that you were kicking it with my dude that you're interviewing me about. Like, really? Okay, Tiger Brown, I'm gonna need for you to stay calm. Cause see, at this point, it's the first time I've come to face with, oh, and I'm a cougar. That was a cougar, okay? So now I'm like, okay, it's not okay for me, but it's okay for you. So now I begin to look at her like she's bigger than me. She is so extra, but she is now working for me, but against me. She's trying to set the stage to embarrass me in a magazine. How dare you? I'm like, as long as you black, don't try me. Okay, because at this point, I'm 38 going 190. I am 38 going 190 because you basically telling me you've been kicking it with my folks. That is just not cool. So, what I had to do, I had to breathe in and then I had to exhale. I had to turn this whole thing around. And so what I did was I began to answer the questions that put me in favor. I'm like, wow, I've never been involved with somebody that was involved with somebody else. And me knowingly, I wouldn't want to be a second fiddle to anybody. Because that would mean I would have to sneak and let people know. I would have to do everything I could to hide the fact unless I'm talking to that one. And that one had the power to eliminate all of that stuff because I'm going to address it when I get back to the crib, which I did. And of course, they denied it. And oh, no, no, what a crazy. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just letting you know if it was not for the God in me, everybody that knew Tiger Brown knew it was going down. Okay. And I'm saying that was a secret that I have kept to myself until to right now. And I often wonder where these people are because I have you guys to know that the word cougar addresses the fact where the woman is older than the man. But I want you guys to think about how many older men have dated younger women all their life, never addressed it, never talked about it, never even held up to the standard of this is okay. But they never was prodded and tortured like a woman. It means that women got to get past the envy and the jealousy and the hurt of being hurt by men. You got to let that part go because to tear down another woman when you allow the man, back in the day, older men married 14 and 15-year-olds on a regular. It was the culture. It's what they did. It's what their slave masters ordered. And a lot of people don't know that even now, if you notice the women that are filthy rich and that are superstars on the next level are dating younger men, but you don't care because their money compensates for their position. So it doesn't matter that this one is dating that one. Oh, because that's who she is. But let a little broke black girl from South Carolina like me catch a little broke black nigga from Virginia like I did, and he turned out to be a hunk in the end. He's growing up, and so am I. You're angry. I can't help you with blind when I could see. I could clearly see that he was going to be a beautiful person. He was already beautiful in my eyes. But I had to pay the cost for loving unconditionally. And I had to pay it at the price of the age difference. I had to be the standard cougar for everybody. So I opened the gateway, and I had to pay the price for every other cougar that ran and got them a young guy, that ran and got them somebody that made it okay, that ran and right now today still running. There's some women out there way older than me, dating men 30 years younger, and you don't say anything. But me, you couldn't wait to tear me down. I'm just here to tell you, it has not been easy. It's been a trodden. So I'm going to let you know. God said, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Because the one thing that's genuinely pure about me is when I love hard, I love unconditionally. I'm a giver. I take nothing for granted. And I'm here to tell you that it's okay. Now, if you have any questions about anything, now's the time to ask me, because I'm in one of these rare moods today, because I ain't fit to take no mess off nobody. I'm coming to you straight, no chaser. So if you got anything you want to say, please speak now or forever hold your peace. You ready? All right. I'm waiting on the first one.
Alrighty, so our first question is coming from Professor P. Reed.
Professor P. Reed, what's your
He
question?
says, I have a 14-year-old that has expressed her desire to get into the industry. He says, I want her to focus on school and being a teenager. Do you have any advice on how I can guide her?
Yes, my advice to you on guiding your 14-year-old is to have her master everything she can about the craft she decides to get into. If she wants to be in the music industry, have her learn several instruments. Tell her to take a songwriting class. Tell her to read the book called This Business of Music. Have her do it like a study course for her future. Once she learns everything she needs to know about songwriting, production, and publishing, and she masters a few instruments, by the time she's ripe and ready to get into the full blown star mode, she will know everything she needs to know. It's the one thing I learned on my journey. Things that I should have known far, far before I got on the road because I learned by trial and error, and that's not how you want to learn.
Okay. Faye Jones says
Hey
that
Jones, what's up?
she just says she's looking forward to meeting you one day and thank you so much for sharing your life experiences.
Hey Jones, thank you. I pray to God that I meet you as well. Just us talking right now, us given an opportunity to have a one-on-one is a blessing in itself. So be thankful that we've got this close so far.
Good Karma has a question about your secret reveal today.
Wow. You know what? Good karma is just what we long for when we go out there and put everything on the line. God says if we confess everything with our mouth, and that's where He stands in the gap for us.
She wants to know, um, did were you when you were in your high profile relationship, was it a situation where you guys fell for each other first and the age difference was just so happened to exist?
When that relationship took flight, I had left home where I was had a first love in high school who died at the age of 17. It was very traumatic for me because I had known him from kindergarten. By the time I met the young brother that I was in a high profile relationship, we didn't look at each other as a number. What we acted off was energy. It was matched perfectly. We had a solid friendship and was connected musically, something that generally does not happen. I hadn't been, you know, I didn't have any like real information on them and they didn't have it on me, but we fell for each other at the same time. And it was me that says, well, I don't really know this person yet. Let me just back away. It took about 2 months of them basically running after me and begging to please, 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 can you just please? And at the end of the day, I ended up giving in because the charm it was irresistible charm. And at the time, I was being neglected and vulnerable. I was very vulnerable. And so when I did fall in love, it was for real. It wasn't contingent on what next. It was just all kind of, it just happened. I can't explain it any other way.
We have a question from Christian Myrick.
Hi, Christian.
He wants to know, what are your writing credits on the Brown Sugar album?
My writing credits on the Brown Sugar album is trying to remember what all I wrote. I wrote Jones in My Bones, which is 50%. I wrote Send It On, which is uh, 50% or 25% of a 33 and a third split. Africa, same thing. What else? Africa. Great Day and Morning, 50%. Good Days, Halfway Days, Great Day and Morning. And then, um, oh God, it's another one I did when it said Shoot Your Shot. I'm going to pull it. I can't remember the name of the darn song, but everything at that point was almost 50. percent. There were only two songs that was 33 and a third because I had co-written it. The music was done by him, and the lyrics were done by his brother and I. So I had basically, his brother did the bridges, and I had done the verses and the melody. So that's where that went.
So speaking of the God in you, Iris Twine has a question for you.
I'm sorry, who?
Iris Twine.
Hi, Iris.
Iris wants to know, in what ways has Christ helped and healed you during and prior to the music business?
Ooh, that's a great question, Iris. It's because I know who I belong to that I do not, I made up my mind very early on that I would not be consumed by the world. So because I don't get too intertwined with things in the world, I've learned how to love outside of that. So I have to always remember that this life in this world is temporary. So I don't get caught up in things and parties and people and money and all that. What some of the things I do for enjoyment, some may question, but my key is to find a solitude and comfort in praise and worship and the promise that God made, the process of life, the promise, just to get there, you have to go through a lot of foil. And I say foliage because it's like walking through a cornfield. You got to get all the corn out of the way in order to get to the end of the path. And see, for me, I had to go through a lot, see a lot, know a lot in order to make the choices I've made. And I chose not to get caught up with the crowd. God said the way to destruction is wide, but the way to salvation is narrow. So I take the narrow road on every level.
Amen. I have a question from Nurse Esther.
Nurse Esther, I'm here.
She says, have you and your daughter mended your relationship?
Listen, great question. My daughter and I have always been mother and daughter. So regardless to what my challenges were with my daughter, I was always going to be a mother, and I was always going to stand my ground. But yes, my daughter and I are at a very good place. She has learned so much from a lot of the things that went down. The social media, which is a high driven place for people to, throw their dirty laundry. But if you noticed, I never responded to any of it because that stuff follows you all of your life. And so right now, my daughter can look back and know that my mom never, ever took to heart what I said, and she never acted on it. And so therefore, she is a child now that longs for her mother's love. She sees me and she respects that because it's teaching her how to be the best mother she can be.
Opal May today has a question for you.
Hi, Opal.
She says, when will you have a meet and greet for your YouTube family?
I hadn't thought about when I would do a meet and greet. I'm just getting intertwined with the social media aspect of things, but that's something that we will think about, and I can assure you that we will address it at a time where it's convenient that we can do a meet and greet. I don't know that we will do it in person or over the internet, but I will certainly work on it so that we can do that.
We've got a lot of comments in here. Before we go into the next set of questions, I'll just share them with you. The first one is from Clicks and Views.
Hey, Clicks and Views.
She says, Miss Stone, we just purchased our tickets to see you on November 17th in Detroit. I hope the song, If It Wasn't, is on your set list.
Oh, wow. Listen, I had a lot of questions about that. If it wasn't for your mom, let me tell you something. I got were you talking about my mama? Were you talking about? I said, oh my God. You know, I wrote that song over 25 years ago. So what I may do is just for the sake of you being there, I might just figure out a way to get into a little bit of it for you. I can't promise you that I'll do the whole thing, but because you asked about it, it shows me that you're a true fan. And just so you know, that's a song that I recorded on my own. I did all the music and everything to that song. So thank you.
Um, Bob Q says, I love you, Angie. My sister's name was also Angie before she passed away, and she lives in Colombia. And she
Oh.
says her daughter and Diamond used to be friends, and her daughter's name is Nicole.
Hi, Bob Q, and thank you for that endearing story. I'll let Diamond know that you chimed in, and I'll tell her about your daughter. Maybe they still are friends. I hope that they are, but I won't forget that.
All right. So back to the
Back
questions.
to the
From
questions.
Good Karma, it says here, are you still open to mentoring and coaching artists?
I am definitely still open to mentoring and coaching artists. I would love for you to let me know what you're working with. Get on one of my lives. Let me, first thing we got to do is a lot of people want to do this, but they have not gotten over the nervous bug. And my thing is, if you're really going to be about that life, you can't be ashamed. You just got to come on with it. And then don't be afraid of what the judgment is. At the end of the day, of course, I would love to.
Coach for Your Life has a question.
Coach for your life, what's up?
Will you make a gospel album?
Listen, I will. That's the one thing that I have not done is made a gospel album, but I have had a number one gospel single um, with Mr. Little. We just had the song No Stressing. If you remember, I think it stayed at number one for 3 or 4 weeks. Um, just like the first time I just did a Christmas song with Jay Brown and Juanita Wynn. You guys can look for it to start playing November 15th. It's a beautiful song. It's called All I'm Missing. So you need to check that out. It's coming, guys.
Okay, we've got another question. This one's coming from Tanya Buchanan.
Hey, Tanya.
She wants to know, will you and Cheryl the Pearl be making new music again or have a reunion?
You know what? Cheryl is like my sister. She, Blondie, and myself did a recording uh, that has not dropped yet. So, yes, there is one song, but I doubt very seriously at my age, am I going to go back to making a rap album? I'll do a feature and I'll do something with my crew. But no, at my age, I'm 62 years young. I am not going out there and try to hang with you rappers. I can if I have to, but no, that's not something I want to do right now.
We have a question from Time Will Heal Pain.
Time will heal pain. Let's hear it.
So, Miss Angela, what do you think about the music today?
Okay, what I think about the music today, some of it is very, very good. I was listening to I think it's Mooney Long and Coco Anderson Pack. I mean, some of the stuff is very, very good because they are learning from old school, and you can tell the influences there. So I'm loving that part. Some of it, I think, is just fly by night music that's going to come and go really quickly. But standards, there are a few standards in the industry if you're listening as a songwriter and producer.
All right, I just want to put a disclaimer out there, you guys. As the moderator for this channel, I can't stop people from making negative comments, but they are being deleted as we go. So thank you to everyone who's pointing out that we have a lot of trolls. We appreciate your point, you pointing that out. All righty, thank you guys for tuning in as well. However, next question is from Christian Myrick. What happened to the artist THC?
Oh. Myrick, it's so funny. I talked to THC today, actually. He is an extraordinary writer of scripts and films. He's always been super, super talented. I was waiting for him to jump on my live for Instagram, but he is very, very gifted. And what I'm going to do is challenge him one day. Even on my Instagram, he was known in our camp as the person of many voices. I'm going to challenge him from a talented standpoint to get on my live and to show you guys what he can do. He's awfully gifted, and it's not what happened to him. It's just life goes on, and some of the choices that we make as individuals at the time affect our outcome. So at the time, he wanted to do music and wanted to, stay focused on what he wanted to stay focused on. And so I just allowed, everybody that was in my camp to make their own decisions.
All right. So we've got quite a few comments in here. The next one that I'm going to be bringing up is, oh my goodness, hold on. We got to block this person. This is so strange.
What's
Alrighty.
happening?
Okay, so the next comment that we had from Max Christoph. Thank you, Max. He says, much love to you and respect from Germany. May I say you look real fine, Miss Angie.
Oh, Maxie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And when I'm back out in Germany, just remind me that you're out there at the show as well.
Urban Soul Herbalist and Homestead says, thank
Urban Soul, what's happening?
Thank you for your voice and your gift in the group sequence. As a young girl in the hood, that song and your group gave us confidence in a male dominated industry. We used to sing that song over and over.
All right. Well, listen, Urban. So that means so much because it shows that you were down on the ground floor of the breaking of rap music, even though they want to say that it started in New York, and it may have. But the Out the Gates was the sequence. We were the first female rap group to have an original rap record that went gold and that made it worldwide. It was not a song that just stayed in the Triborough area. It went beyond, and I am very grateful to have been a part of that legacy.
Chanelica Betancourt has a comment. She says, I want to thank you for the creation of the mantra, and I use it to this day. The mantra is, I'm going to stop placing a question mark where God placed a period.
Oh, listen, that means a lot because that means that you've been following me for quite some time. And what I want everybody to do, Chanelico just reminded me that we sometimes get in our own way. God will move something out the way, we'll go bring it right back. When God makes a decision, we mustn't question the decision. So that comment, stop putting a question mark where God has put a period, basically means I took you out of the situation. You went back. So whatever the consequences are, they were all led by you. Because when I did what I was doing for your benefit, if it wasn't to your liking, you did something else. And that's why the end result was not what you wanted.
Time Will Heal says that she loves the song No Rain in This Cloud because that song gives her life.
Oh, time will heal. Thank you so much. No More Rain in This Cloud gave me a peace of mind. My dad taught me these things as a little girl. And so it is why I carry it like a torch that burns forever in my heart where he is concerned.
90 wants to know if we can put all of your secrets revealed into a playlist so she can watch the playback.
Okay, you know what? That's something we'll work on, 90. What my thing is, all the secrets revealed is a story. So my thing is, once you get the storyboard, get your popcorn, sit back, and just let it roll.
Yep. And then I want her to also know that we do have a playlist. It's on this page. If you go onto the tab that says playlist, you will see the Secrets Reveal is one of the top 3 playlists on the Real Angie Stone. You can watch every single part from beginning to end, from part one all the way to, I think we're on part 18 right now. So thank you so much for that advice.
All right, thank you.
Last comment, I believe, well, not the last comment, but another comment from E Gameplay 95. He says, "Mad love to you. I hope you enjoy self reflections."
Oh, listen, mad love to you, and thank you so much for all of this. This is a wonderful time for me, getting to interact with you guys, and no matter what other people think, this is great, and I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying it as much as I am.
Bertha Starks.
Who?
Bertha Starks.
Hey, Bertha.
She says, "Your beauty really shines bright."
Oh, thank you so much. You know what? It's a reflection of who I am on the inside. I'm not really concerned with the outside because we know eventually in time looks will fade. But, it's one thing that we can love about elderly people. Their looks can change, but their heart remains sweet and adoring. So I said that I would always carry that magic in my heart. So whatever you're seeing and feeling, it comes from inside.
Angel Hall.
Hey, Angel.
Um, she got a two-part question. The first part was, "Did you ever meet Tupac?"
Yes, I did meet Tupac. I met him at a place called the House of Blues in LA. We were out there way back when the Brown Sugar album was out. Tupac was standing on the balcony with the band and myself, and they were talking about collaborating. He had just told D'Angelo that he held a spot for him on his album. And when he finally got to meet him, he wanted to make sure that he knew that he was waiting for him to actually do a song with him because he'd held that spot. And of course, he didn't make it to get that song done. It would have been a banger, I'm sure.
Yeah, she wants to also know, how old were you when Tupac transitioned?
I think when Tupac transitioned, I might have been 32. I might have been 31 or 32 because my son was not born yet.
Wow. Iris Twine has another response
Hi, Iris.
and a question. It says, "With the understanding of the spirit of discernment that you now have in Christ, what are two things that God has transformed in your life that He can now use in you to grow His seed in other people?"
Well, the thing that God has grown in me is my desire to know Him better. I'm in college at Next Dimension University for my degree. I have an honorary doctorate in theology, but my desire now is to know everything there is to know about the Bible. So that in my walk, if I'm ever depended on to lead the people, I would know exactly how to move and what scriptures to teach them and to be a lamp unto their feet.
All right. And this is our last comment in the chat from Time Will Heal.
Time will
Tang.
heal. Last comment.
She says, "I love that Brown Sugar album as well. A music will never be the same."
Listen, I love it as well too because that's when the course of real music took back over and we got out of the bubblegum world and back into the real world of music.
All righty. Tanya Buchanan says, "You are shining and always will. God will keep on blessing you." Miss Angie B, "Keep winning and love always."
Love you more, Tanya. You know I do. Thank you so much.
All righty, you guys. We want to thank you for tuning in tonight and for all your questions. We will be back soon. Let them know when we're coming back.
Okay, they want to know when I'm coming back. Y'all follow my thumbnail, log in, go in there and see what the next topic will be. But for right now, it's basically getting back to the basics. If I do have a secret revealed, it will be probably a juicy one. but the ones I revealed today was basically something I, dealt with. The other thing that I will talk about is ideas that we had long time ago that we never got to bring to fruition because of some level of interception. Also, I'm going to reveal some of the biggest stars that really tried to come for my love. And that, baby, will blow your mind. So on the next time, we'll talk about that.
All right, they're all saying good night to you.
Good night. Thank you.